Hi everyone, welcome to the latest edition of the Bison video blog, minus the headgear. Along with Jeff Kolpack, I'm Dom Izzo as we get set for NDSU to take on Indiana State. The Sycamores come in after a big win over Missouri State at 4-2. Of course, the Bison, Jeff, I still think there's a lot of people shaking their heads after what happened on Saturday against Youngstown State. No one saw that coming.
I maybe saw 31-20, that was my score I predicted, but 48-7.
No way.
That was just way off the charts. So what do we do this week, Don, for the pregame? Maybe chop down a tree?
You George Washington or something? I don't know.
Might get the some society.
You know, environmentalists will not be happy with you. No way. The Sycamores come in with one of the best players in all of FCS. I know anybody who watches the blog knows that, in Shakir Bell, who had his worst game of the season last year in Terre Haute. Jeff, he was held to 79 yards. He's the biggest key. If he goes off, that could be a long day for NDSU. He's 5'7", 170 pounds, and he's not a very big guy, but very powerful. And fast. Very fast, incredible strength, great change of direction. That being said, NDSU really held him down. They have Ryan Drevelo is going to be in there, and Drevelo, I think, is the best run stopper in the Missouri Valley Football Conference. And if you say that about NDSU and the Missouri Valley, you can just expand that to the entire subdivision. Yep. I think Drevell's that good. Levon Perry's had a great year. You have Jurek and Manuel on the outside. Yep. That defensive line is, as a group, without a doubt, #1 in the FCS. And it was a statement there on Saturday after what they did to Youngstown State and Kurt Hess and Jermaine Cook. Mike Parrish is the quarterback for Youngstown. The last couple of years was the Washington transfer and Ronnie Fausch. I think that makes them a drastically different team as compared to the last couple of years. But make no mistake, the Sycamores are on the way up after, you couldn't go anywhere but up after what they had for that long losing streak. Yeah, Mike Parrish has thrown, I believe, about 55%, something like that. If NDSU makes Indiana State one-dimensional, meaning if they can hold down Shakir Bell and force him to the pass, it's going to be, I think it could be a long day for Indiana State. Because who do you have back there? You have the secondary, you have #1 in Marcus Williams. You have the safeties who are making the switch from corner very good, very well. Dudzik and Shepard have both looked really good to me, with the loss of Colton Eagle especially. I guess that amplifies that. You look at what Marcus Williams did on Saturday. He changed the game. Craig Bowles said today in his press conference, he's the most dynamic player in FCS. I can't argue with that. 4 pick sixes now. That's a school record. And every time he's done, he's changed the game for NDSU. Well, he changes the games because teams won't even go his way. So right away, you're taking away almost half the field on the passing game. He's his own island. He's become what Darrell Revis is in the NFL, to use my own jet term. Are we getting into it? But I'm just telling you, he is, because they will not throw to his side of the field. Right, and we haven't even talked about the linebackers. And how good they've played. You know, I think we're talking so many superlatives on this team, and it's easy to say, well, you guys are just the Bison, home, but that's true. It is. We're looking at the facts. You got the #1 team who are and the unanimous #1 team. It's not even close for the second straight week, and has echoed that in the polls. I mean, go back to the 3-8 season on this same vlog. We were the other way. I mean, absolutely. I think we call it like we see it, and right now. I haven't seen a better game than the Youngstown game from the NDSU standpoint. Perhaps Central Michigan a few years ago when they went to Mount Pleasant, Michigan and knocked off the MAC champs. Adam Keller is a question mark, and that's an interesting storyline to follow this week. The Bison place kicker is battling a hamstring injury. He did kick a 48-yard field goal after he pulled the hammy. That opens up the door there, because if Ben LeCompte, who's the punter, has to kick, that's in a situation, I guess, the Bears, what do you do when you got a hamstring injury with a kicker? I feel bad for Adam. He's such a nice kid, and he's waited his time, too. And as the writer, we always get, I always know the kickers better anyway, because they just kind of hang on the sidelines. They're the golfers, too. They're Adam, don't do anything. Just sit in the sidelines and kick. No more weights for you. This is a conversation I think we've talked about several times, and we need to bring up here. And I've said it numerous times, Matt Brown of Illinois State, Kurt Hess of Youngstown State, the best quarterbacks in the Missouri Valley. I think it's time to put Brock Jensen at the head of that class after what he did Saturday. I think you're right. Matt Brown got shut out by Southern Illinois on Saturday. And he gets a lot of the accolades because of his statistics, but I like the winners too. Yeah. And what did Eric say? 19-1 in his last 20 starts. Brock Jensen is at a 69% clip. He's not only winning, he's productive. His third down percentage, NDSU is at a 59% third down conversion rate, which is absolutely off the charts. 40% is considered pretty good.
And if you're at 59%, and against Youngstown, how many were 3rd and 7, 3rd and 8? There's several.
They were 11 of 15 on 3rd down against Youngstown State. I think the true test to see how good the Penguins are will come this week. They're at Normal, Illinois to play Illinois State. Each team coming off a loss. I guess we'll determine from there on out how good this NDSU win is. I still think it's amazing. They smashed the 3rd-ranked team in the nation, but as we look forward down the road here of how many playoff teams are going to get in, does it change your mind out of what happened with the Bison win over Youngstown?
Well, you're always going to have people knocking off different teams. South Dakota State's certainly in the picture. Yep. I think they've actually elevated after being idle this week with Illinois State's loss. Indiana State's still in it.
SDSU, Illinois State, Youngstown, and the Bison right now have 4. If Indiana State shocks the world and beats the Bison, obviously you got to throw them into the mix as well. Should be a fun week as we get set for the Sycamores and the Bison. Indiana State looking for a big win. The Bison trying to go to 6-0. That's the latest edition of the Bison Video Blog.